Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. See how I did that, flipped it around? I'd like to welcome everyone to the XRP Army News Show once again. And today, I am excited to be able to have a friendly conversation with Codeward, who I am located somewhere in North America, and so is he. So I don't believe we're going to have any kind of a language barrier. I don't think he's in the south of North America because he doesn't sound quite like me, but I think everybody's going to enjoy getting a chance to be able to know him and hear his crypto experience. So, Codeward, I'd like to welcome you, and would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, everyone. I'm Codeward. Hello.
Perfect. See how easy this is? I got people that are scared to death to come on here and have a friendly conversation with me. So far, hadn't really been terrible, has it?
No, I can't say it has been.
All right. So what we do here is basically give you, a member in our XRP Army, the opportunity to be able to kind of share a little bit about yourself and how you got into crypto, how you stumbled, how you feel about XRP, where you feel like we are today, and where you feel like we're going. So that's basically it. I'm going to try to muzzle myself as much as possible, so you've got the opportunity to be able to share with everyone all about you. So you kind of know what the basics are, how you found crypto, where you feel like it's going, and how excited you are to be in the XRP Army. And so take off.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I actually discovered the space, I would say, actually, when I was first starting school or college there back in about 2013, 2014. So I found, like, I had one of my classmates actually refer me to Bitcoin, but at the time I was like, I ended up going through school for software development. So at the time I was just getting my feet wet, didn't understand too much. And then a buddy of mine was trying to get me on to running a Bitcoin mining server. And it was like, cool, interested, but I don't know how to do it. So at that point, I just kind of like watched how things went and whatnot. And then I seen the huge price rise and everything, and definitely got a lot more interested at that point. But I think my major introduction would have been back right before the 2017 bull run there. I was actually not even really interested in Bitcoin or even Ethereum. My focus was XRP. I seen it at under a cent per token, and I'm like, man, this is a huge opportunity. I want to get in here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I tried setting up on a couple exchanges, actually Kraken at the time and Coinbase, I think it was. But I was running into a few issues trying to get all set up and everything. And I was like, okay, this is kind of a little bit of a roadblock for me. But at the time, I was at the point of ready to drop about $1,000 in on XRP. And I'm kicking myself in the butt for not doing so and just persevering. Because at this point, even still, that 1,000 would have turned into more than enough for what I would have wanted.
Yeah.
Really, my whole point and goal in crypto right now is just pay off my student loans, get myself debt free and situated, and as everybody likes to say, on a level playing field.
Yes.
So
From a technological standpoint, have you been impressed with where the world seems to be going, or are you scared of it? And do you kind of feel like that Ripple, with what they're trying to do with ODL and RippleNet, whatever we want to call it, the inoperable ledger? How are you feeling about all of the technical side of everything that you see with Ripple and XRP?
the technical side, I'm impressed. Like, I look at the fundamentals of XRP and the XRP ledger, and it's phenomenal. Like, the speed, scalability, and security of the networks, just, it's got me sold. Now, with the way things are going, I understand trying to redo the entire plumbing of the financial industry, it's not something to be taken lightly, and it is definitely going to take some time. So for me, I like the way they're doing things. They're working with regulators, they're working with banks instead of trying to upend the entire system. And so for me, that's definitely where it has my vote, because, well, there's another YouTuber that when I first started getting into crypto, definitely I was all into YouTube. But I actually started watching some of the smaller channels, like at the time was Moon Lambo.
Yes.
I understand the names, but
Matt.
yeah. So, and as Moon Lambo always said, like fundamentals matter, and that's really what it comes down to is the fundamentals. Is it going to have staying power? Is it going to have a chance to have its foot in the door and revolutionize the industry as we see it? Which, as far as I can see, it definitely does. Despite all the fudsters and people calling it scams and whatnot, it's a grain of salt. Just kind of.
Well, Codeward, last week we had one of the most interesting developments since I've been in the space. We've actually now ended up with the announcement of Brian Brooks and the OCC. Now it turns out that Bitcoin is a banker's coin.
Yeah.
What is your reaction and your feelings about your true feelings about that?
What can I say? Like, I find it kind of funny because they've always been down with banks, be your own bank, and so forth. And now this announcement comes and everybody's on board with Bitcoin being a banker's coin. And it's like, okay, that was the biggest argument all along. So.
If we were able to get Stone for Days and Pomp, and who's another one of the Bitcoin Ben on how would you welcome them to the banking family?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for putting up with us. And
now, how do you feel about the banks?
Well, in my opinion, banks aren't going anywhere. They're here to stay. You might have some of them that end up going insolvent or whatnot during the crisis and so forth. But when it comes down to regulatory frameworks and so forth, we need banks. People need banks, and they're not going anywhere. Now, they might be a little slow moving in adopting new technologies and so forth. However, in the long run, we'll get there. And when we get there, as we're already seeing with that announcement of crypto custodian banks, it's happening. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. And for me, it's confirmation more than anything. I've made the right choice.
Well, Codeward, what is your understanding of how PolySign? I watched a couple of videos this morning. Mickey B. Fresh is helping out with getting the information to Brad and to King Solomon, and Crypto Eddie did a great video this morning that I watched. So I'm beginning now to still try to wrap my Southern brain, non-techie person, around exactly how these pieces are going to fit together. But do you feel like that you've got a good understanding of where PolySign? I know we're supposed to whisper it. Thank you, DAI. But do you have a good feeling of where you feel like that's supposed to fit in, and does it look like that it's fitting together like a glove and a hand?
To a degree, I do. Like, I'll be honest, I don't understand too much behind PolySign. I do understand that it's a custody framework and so forth. But from taking a step back on things and looking at like the XRP ledger, looking at PolySign, looking at PayID and Global ID and how it all, yes, definitely. I see it all fits together quite nicely. Like, exactly. It's somebody cut the puzzle pieces and they knew exactly how they fit together before they even cut them.
I think you're right. I'm one of those kind of guys. I am not technical at all. I don't understand how my television works, but I'm damn glad the thing's on right now. So every now and then I can shift over here and watch a little golf. And I don't know how my truck works. I got no idea. All I know is put key in ignition, turn it, and we're going. That's good enough for me. But I agree with you that from kind of a non-technical person looking on the outside, it does seem to me like that there's a lot of these little chess pieces here that they're all weaving together to bring us the internet of value and the internet of everything. I mean, It's amazing.
It really is. It's astounding how much progress has been made over the last couple of years. Like I fell into FOMO there back actually last summer when we were first starting to get the SBI announcement, and so I ended up FOMOing in at like 45 cents or so, and like I kicked myself in the butt a little bit, but you know what? You live and you learn.
Well, I ended up the highest cost XRP that I have attained was I believe at 32 cents. So
Oh, fair enough.
yeah. So are there any other projects that you feel that you're interested in besides XRP? And that's one of the things too. I really don't like a maxi attitude in anything. It's
Oh
not
no.
just it's not just BTC maxis that drive me nuts, but it's just that maxi attitude towards anything. And I own a little Bitcoin. I hope it goes to $1 million. And I own my latest purchase was I got a little bit of VeChain. I
Oh,
think
fair enough.
I think that's a great project. I can see what Sonny Lou's up to, and I hope that goes well. I'm a believer.
Oh, definitely, definitely. There will be multiple winners in the space, and I do completely agree. Now, from a maxi point of view, I consider myself a utility maxi. So I'm not geared to one project or another. Like long term, I'm holding. Like, you know what? XRP, I have a bag of that sitting aside, and I'm not touching it for probably about 5, 10 years. I don't even care what this bull run brings. It could sit there. I will hold it the way back down. It does not bother me because in the long term, that's what I'm looking for.
Me
So,
too.
yeah, as
All
you
right.
were saying, oh, sorry. So, other projects that I'm interested in, as you were saying, um, I actually really am looking into Casino Coin. So the reason being for that is that like it's a fork of the XRP ledger. There's 40% the supply, so there's only 40 billion tokens. They're all in circulation. The Casino Coin Foundation holds less than 1%, so there's no locked up escrow, nobody dumping on anybody, anything like that. Their partnerships are phenomenal from what I can find. Like we have, from what I've seen, Trust Tracker is live, and they're working with one online crypto casino right now, 321 Crypto Casino. And just that one casino, they're averaging about 10,000 transactions a day. And there's other partnerships coming live on the ledger. You have the Crazy 8 token, which is tapping into emerging markets. You have Kamei, who is the world's leading distributor of roulette wheels globally. And so they're with Kamei, they're basically setting it up so every spin, every bet, every maintenance schedule is logged on the Casino Coin ledger. And so for me, once Kamei starts going live and pushing these roulette wheels and their partners start using the ledger, they'll be pushing millions of transactions a day. In my opinion, not financial advice, obviously.
Hey, I'm no financial advisor. I'm not a doctor. I played one on television last week, but it was just TV. It's not reality. Wasn't even reality TV. And by the way, I do want to mention that I did get William Shatner actually responded to me on Twitter today. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I kind of like that. I kind of like this Twitter thing.
Oh,
So
definitely.
yeah, I can't understand the maxi attitude. I mean, when we look back at, I'm old enough to be able to have lived through the blockchain, .com boom. And hey, there's Facebook. Hey, there's Alibaba. Hey, there's Amazon. I mean, there's more room in all of the money being transacted in the world and all of the people trying to find themselves, being distracted by something. There's room for more than one. Hell, I'm a big television fan. There's more than one channel.
There's
Duh.
more than one channel. There's more than one brand of TV. Like, and that's what it comes down to is like we have laws and regulations against monopolies in the country. And so that's where I see is like, yes, Ripple will be first market and XRP will be astounding, but there will be other players in the space, and I'm fully accepting of that. So I'm not expecting it to be like an end all be all. XRP, to me, it's not a catch-all. It's not going to fix all the world's problems. And so, as you mentioned, like VeChain, they're tackling the whole trade and or sorry, not trade.
Tracking
Sorry, brain
product,
fart.
tracking
Yeah,
products.
exactly. Tracking problems and supply chain. That's the words I was looking for. So, in tracking the supply chain, it'll definitely be great to be able to see, oh, okay, I bought this bag of potatoes. How long's it been sitting in the warehouse? How long were there any other batches that were affected by pests or anything along during travel and transit? So yeah, definitely. And that's what it comes down to for me is use case. If it has a solid use case and fundamentals pushing it, I can definitely see it making waves in the space. But when you have tokens or assets that are literally just fueled by hype and they don't really have much backing them, I'm a little iffy.
I'm a lot more than a little. I like the solid use cases that I can have laid out for me and be able to understand. Now, I will say this: I have not been in Chain Link, but man, I watched a video the other day by Sam I Am, and he pretty much, ripped that one to shreds. I don't, not financial advice, but I think I'm going to stay away from that one. Do you ever watch any of Sam I Am's To the Lifeboats videos?
Yep, I've watched some of Sam I Am there, and I like the way he presents. It's very cut and dry. He's very informed. There's no beating around the bush or um,
Hype,
yeah,
fluff.
exactly. It's straight to the facts, and if it's not a fact, then we're not touching on it.
Well, and
So
I tell you, the way that he broke everything down, there was a company called Zeus Capital that had
yeah,
done an investigation on Link, and I just that's one of the things too. I mean, everything about Ripple and XRP. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'll admit it. I love I love the people at the company. I love the way that the problem that they want to go out there to try and solve. I mean, Swift blows grits. It's a Southern term.
oh
I mean,
no,
we've got a problem with the transaction speed. We got a problem with the transaction cost. We got a 6% failure rate.
yeah,
I mean, that is a problem begging for a solution. And
and that's exactly it.
I love the team with Ripple. Then I love our community. I don't see higher quality, better human beings in the other. And I'm not trying to down any of the other communities' influencers, but they don't have Sam I Am. They don't have Crypto Eddie. They don't have the Bearable Bull. They don't have Kevin Cage, Jungle Inc. They don't have the digital asset investor. They don't have Brad Kimes. They don't have the quality Lee with SPQR. They don't have the quality of people that, in my opinion, that we have in our XRP influencer group.
Well,
I
that's
just don't see
exactly
it.
it. Not even just the YouTubers, the Twitter influencers that are constantly digging for information, like XRP Owl, XRP Boy, XRP Stewart. I know everybody's got XRP in their name, and I try to avoid that myself. But
Yeah.
um, like we have a great community. We have tons of researchers that are doing awesome work. You have Leonidas that's put together the XRP Arcade as a nice little pool for information. Like I had Hodor. Let me just say that guy had some amazing blogs.
Don't
But
forget I'm Legion.
yeah, oh Legion, definitely. I have him followed as well, and there's too many to list. Like we have a great community, and that's another thing that drives the project, in my opinion, as well, is the community as well. If you have a toxic community or you're just constantly dumping on other projects, I don't find that entertaining. I don't find that productive or beneficial in any means. Sure, you can hype your project and dump on other projects, but what value is that bringing?
Well, and we don't have XRP, Nagabo. Do you see any other project out there having Nagabo, sharing Naga magic?
Nope.
When I interviewed Nagabo, he released two things. Well, I think he said before, but he let everybody know that he was running for president in the United States. We talked about what his platform would be, and then the other thing is he let the cat out of the bag that when the bank money comes in and we start our bull run, that he's going to elevate Brad Garlinghouse to Michael Jackson. So any feelings, thoughts about Brad Garlinghouse being elevated to Michael Jackson?
I have a problem putting people on a pedestal. For me, like, we're all human. Yes, some of us have made crazy advancements, or have been awesome personalities or great custodians of the environment and so forth. But in the end, we're all human. And I think that's kind of one problem that we do have, is when we put people on the pedestal, they end up making a mistake and then we tear them right down for it. And I think that is a bit of toxicity that we need to kind of get away from. And I even see the same thing with celebrities. Everybody's all gaga about celebrities, and they're just people. So
I agree.
While I think it is awesome to kind of have that celebrity status to a degree, I think kind of pushing that too much can actually be kind of damaging.
Well, I will say that I deeply appreciate Nagabo being in our community to help us with a little bit of timely comic relief, because I'm not a person that believes in taking things too seriously, because things are always going to end up having a way of working out. Now, one thing that I'd like to ask your opinion of, I have diligently been inviting as many of our great women in our XRP Army to do an interview with me, and I've been very fortunate. I've talked to Boo Boo. We interviewed Crypto Eddie was one of our first interviews. I was honored to be able to have spoken with XRP Rose and Stephanie Starr, but to all of the other women that I am asking to come on and have a friendly conversation with me, what would be your you would want to say to them about accepting? And if you would like to hear from more of the women in our XRP Army, share what they feel is going on.
Well, definitely. Like, I would love to see like the whole community involved, both male and female, because like in the end, like there is like, I don't know, like it's kind of a running joke now, is that there are no women on the internet, right? So it is definitely a little bit of a straightening out, for lack of better wording, knowing that there are community members and it's not just a dude posing as a woman or whatnot, or trying to get followers or whatever the case. But I definitely would love to see more of the community involved, especially the female actors there as well, because it brings everybody together, and seeing that commonality between everybody it's beneficial.
I believe that as well, and I'm doing everything that I can. I'm trying not to be too much of a pest with people like King Solomon and Jungle Inc. and the Digital Asset Investor. I'm inviting and encouraging them every chance I get to come on and let everyone hear more about them. And that's another thing I'd like to get your feelings about. Would you like to hear a little bit more about the influencer instead of them just kind of broadcasting news to us every day?
I think it would be, a little more personified, not personified, but getting more personal with the community if they were to, get it more personal. But in the same breath, like myself, I've I started out my crypto journey actually on YouTube. That's where I started getting my information. And then from there, I actually moved into Twitter because I was finding that I was getting the news directly from Twitter instead of having it rehashed for me and whatnot. And this way, it would lead me into the documents and I could read the documents myself and, in essence, form my own conclusions. Well, yeah, those conclusions would definitely be in line with what the YouTubers are saying and so forth. Like, I don't get me wrong, like, I have nothing against YouTubers. It's just like I found that I was spending a lot of time on YouTube, and it was actually causing a lot of friction with my girlfriend there. So I,
Oops.
I had to kind of step away there because, like, I've got a little man too. So, if I'm spending all my time on YouTube and or Twitter or whatnot, I'm spending less time with them, and definitely it's not a good thing.
I got you. So, are you more positive about what you see, the world that your son is going to be involved in, than you were? Because I know a lot of people are concerned about, AI and concerned about all of our transactions are all going to be tracked and we're all going to be in this surveillance society. Do you feel, are you intimidated and have that fear? Me personally, I see that there's a lot more convenience coming in a lot of these things that are coming. So I'm not really sweating it.
I'm kind of on the fence, to be honest. Like, I see the benefits of it. I see, as you said, the convenience, the ease of access, crazy beneficial. But then I also see the opportunity for bad actors and whatnot, where, you know, everything's open, everything's transparent. So, I turn around and say I share my pay ID, and the next thing I know, I've got 20 people watching my balance, watching my transactions, and I'm like, oh, wait, why are you doing this? But in the same breath, like, I'm not doing anything illegal or anything like that. Should be raising suspicion. So as I said, like, I'm kind of on the fence. I see it from both points of view, and the kind of person I am, I do like to play devil's advocate at times. So yeah, definitely, I like to see things from both points of view and then draw my own conclusions from there. So for myself, I tend to sit on the fence with a number of subjects there.
Gotcha. Well, last year, one of the things that I was really looking forward to in October was the swell pump,
Oh
and
yeah,
it didn't happen.
yeah.
So now that we're coming up on, swell time again, do you think that we'll get the swell pump that we experienced in the other years, or you think we'll end up what we got last year, which was a bag of rocks?
Well, I don't like to speculate too much on price and whatnot. I honestly, it's going to do what it's going to do. The thing that I don't like really is the idea of a swell pump, or even the word pump, because quite often it's associated with the dump that comes afterwards. And that's what I find that kind of a hindrance, because you have newcomers to the environment and the community and whatnot, and they get invested and they see this whole swell pump come, and then they're like, yeah, this is it, and then it dumps afterwards, and they're like, what's a scam? And it's like, no, it's not a scam. You just have large players that are manipulating the price. And so I think that to a degree it is a hindrance to the community, because, well, it's going to end up uh, pushing some of those newcomers away that don't quite fully understand what's taking place.
Do you keep up with the stock market all that much in the U.S., and do you feel like that they can kick the can down the road very much longer?
I never really paid attention to the stock market. There was a point where I was like, man, if I could have got Microsoft back in the 80s, like, that would have been amazing. But, like, I don't really follow the stock market. Like, I have RSPs and stuff like that, but I pay my dues and they do what they do, and one day I'll retire and hopefully have money.
That's a solid plan.
Yeah.
um, So if there was one message that you wanted to send out to the XRP Army and let them know what you are all about and what your hope for all of us is, what would that be?
I would say keep your nose to the grindstone, keep researching. The one thing I want to say, especially for the one section of the community there, and I'm not trying to speak ill, gold or XRP will not be tied to gold. There will be no backing or pegging. It is an agnostic base asset that, as soon as I put this out on a tweet a few days ago, it actually got a huge like,
reaction.
Yes, that's the word. Sorry, I'm failing on my words right now.
It's okay.
But yeah, so basically, to be a bridge, that asset or that XRP aims to be is that it can't be backed. It has to be that agnostic bridge currency that derives its own intrinsic value based off the utility that it sees and does, right? So everybody that believes that XRP is going to be back to gold or whatever asset, it's not going to happen. Like, in my opinion, you already have other projects that are building on the XRPEL, like Sologenic, that's working on tokenizing stocks, bonds, assets, and in that sense, you now have an entire ecosystem that's just for stocks and bonds that runs on the XRPL. And now I can trade, if I want to send you digital gold as a token, I can do so. And it's only costing what, the XRPL network fee of what, 10 drops?
Right.
So yeah, if I want to bridge that and I want to sell you my gold for your Tesla stock, that's where XRP will come in that exchange, right? So if I want to exchange my gold for your Tesla stock, then we need a bridge that's not tied to anything. It has its own value that can account for that change in everything. So I think definitely some members of the community need to get away from that. XRP will be pegged to gold, because if I'm speaking frankly, I don't know if it's them just wanting that immediate price hike or whatever the case, which, granted, it'll come eventually. But Brad Kimes there, actually, back during Swell last year, was had a video of David Schwartz, and he was saying that, we're going to end up having a speculative bull run, kind of like what we're seeing now. Now, this might not be the run that he's talking about, but we're going to see a run, and then you're going to see a lot of other projects dump off, like we've seen in the past. But then XRP is going to keep going up as it sees more and more and more utility, and then people are going to start FOMOing in, and it's going to drive price even more. And then we'll see some consolidation and so forth, but it's going to keep rising. And I think that's what's going to happen. Is it's going to be a slow and steady rise. There is no proverbial switch, as everybody's talking about. That switch is basically going to be utility, and it's not going to be open the tap and the water's just flooding. It's going to be a gradual, okay, we have this company, they're starting up with ODL. Oh, we see an increase in transactions and utility. Oh, yeah. Look at that. We now have SBI going live. We have MUFG or whatever the case, whoever's Bank of America, it's in long term. Oh, sorry.
Bank of England.
Yes, exactly. And even Bank of Canada.
I think the tap has already been turned on. It's just going to be turned up more. That's all. I mean, we've already got ODL going on between America and Mexico. It's our MoneyGram. It's already Bitso. It's already on. And I agree with you.
Yeah, we've got Philippines, Australia, we got Mexico, we got and it's a matter of time until we have Japan and the other Asian countries like Europe and eventually Canada, or Latin America or Brazil. Like, we already have talks of Brazil, and
all the world.
It's a matter of time.
All the world, all the money.
Precisely.
Yeah. Well, I've never been more excited. I'm 58 years old, and I have never been more excited about being alive. And I don't think I can remember being more excited about Ripple and XRP than I am right now. I mean, the last week or so, and James Rule is a good friend of mine, and one of the things that he and I get together and talk about is, hey, more good news, and we're still at 20 cents. I mean,
Yeah,
what in God's green earth can happen that positively that hasn't already, and we just sit there at 20 cents? So, but the amount of news coming now, I just feel, and I don't know how you feel about it, Codeward, but I feel that right now we're gaining momentum. That
we definitely are.
Bigger and bigger and bigger, better announcements, and dots being connected than I've ever seen since I've been into this stuff at all.
Yeah, as Brad Garlinghouse said, it's a flywheel. Once it's set in motion, it gets easier and easier to spin it faster and faster. But to get moving, there's a lot of energy and a lot of force that needs to be applied at the very beginning to get things moving. And without that, it ain't going to get spinning. So now we are at a point where we're starting to see adoption. And that's coming with, as you said, the OCC giving banks crypto custody legality. You're seeing PolySign. You're seeing Pay ID and Global ID getting launched. Like even myself, I'm running a Pay ID server. Like, it's interesting times, definitely. And I think the more news and more stuff that we see, it's going to start to impact things, and it's just a matter of time. Now, like, I don't know, like, I love a good conspiracy and a good conspiracy theory, don't get me wrong, but like, that was one thing that I always said is like, I will never buy XRP based on riddles or clues from the bearable guy. That's it. Yeah. So like, I've never bought off any riddles or clues or anything like that. It's for me, it's always been about the fundamentals. And so I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think now that we've gotten into conspiracy world a little bit, I won't go too deep into this, but do you believe that Ghislaine Maxwell will make it to trial, or she'll get suicided?
That's a good question. It can really go either way. I tend to try to stay away from the whole politics and stuff like that, but it's hard to say because like it could end up going to trial and it just being a false flag to a degree, where it's draw your attention over here so that you don't see what we're doing over here. Or the thing that I find with her potentially being suicided is the fact that, like, you end up having Epstein and a couple other people that have basically died in custody or whatnot. And if this ends up happening again, the people are going to end up being like, okay, no, then this isn't right. This isn't right. Something's happening, and it's obviously
troublesome.
Yes, quite so. And I think if that were to happen, people would start to believe that whole deep state thing a lot more. Now, I'm not saying that's not the case. There's definitely a good possibility. Like, you end up having like a few close friends who are, tied up in Congress or Senate or whatnot. And, you work together, and then you pay enough people off and you can make whatever you want happen. Like, there was a video that was passed around, I think, 2017 there, where this lady from Congress was talking about how easy it is for somebody to get elected with 100% backing by corporations and companies, whether big pharma, firearms, or like NRA or whatever the case. They can be brought into office 100% backed. They have no limits to the laws that they can touch upon and change. And that is frightening.
Yep.
That is frightening.
Well, what's frightening to me is that these people can be career politicians, and that we're $153 trillion in the United States in unfunded liability debt. And, nobody seems to really be all that aware of it.
And they don't even bat an eye when they hear about it.
No, and then they're not aware that they look at the stock market at being 26,000 in that range, and they don't even understand that they don't even understand that Hertz filed bankruptcy, and then 10 days later, their stock increased 12%.
Yeah, I saw that. That was ridiculous. Like, and that's the thing. There was an article passed about that where it was they were legally allowed to turn around and generate more stocks and
Yeah.
literally tell their investors, "Hey, you know what? It's going to be worthless. You're buying at your own risk.
Yeah.
There's no point in buying it. We're bankrupt, but go ahead and buy it."
Well, the other part that really shocked me was when I found out that from 2008 to 2020, up to today, that 80, and I could be wrong, not a financial advisor, but I do have a pretty good memory, and I'm pretty sure I got this right. But it was 80% of the stock gains since 2008 have been buybacks from corporations, not them expanding and selling more of their stuff to retail. It was stock buybacks that had the stock market inflate. I mean, it's just insanity. But the average Joe Blow guy doesn't have any idea how this stuff's all propped up. They're just like, oh, yeah, higher highs and unbelievable. Everything's better than it's ever been.
That's exactly it. Like I tried talking to my coworkers because he's deep into the stocks and so forth. Like he's all about watching the stock price. And then I was telling him, like right before we had that huge like drop off there,
Yep.
I was telling him, dude, like pull your stuff out because the market's going to crash. We're in a huge bubble. Oh no, we're good. We're seeing all new highs. And I'm like, dude, look at the last time we've seen all new highs. Look at 2008. Look at before that. Like it constantly. What was it? 92 before that, I think it was. But like
yes,
constantly. Anytime we see all new highs in the stock market, there, it's yep, exactly.
gonna
Goes
go
right
down.
back down.
Yep.
And then now with the basically unlimited printing, zero backed funding, like
Right.
now, like banks have a zero reserve. Like
Right.
before, it was like, okay, I will hold $1 million, I can loan out 10 million. Now it's
Right.
like, money, take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm just like, how do you think this is any good? Like
Right.
the huge increase in the stock market you see is inflation.
Right.
Or money printing. It's the
Right.
devaluation of the US dollar. So why are you gung ho about this? Like it makes no sense.
Well, the thing that irritates me the most is that my father and stepmother have got a pretty good, bundle of money that my grandmother left them, and their financial advisor. I'm not going to name the company, but they've got this guy that they really believe in, that has been a traditional monetary financial advisor,
Yeah.
and he doesn't know anything about crypto. And Codeward, you know why he doesn't know anything about crypto? The cold hard truth.
What's
He
that?
he's not set up to make any commissions off of it.
Ah, fair enough.
So he does not know dick about digital assets. So he's not looking at diversifying. All he's looking at is his manager gives him like a call sheet of the stuff that they'll make commissions off of, and that's what he talks to my dad and my stepmom about.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've had Brian Brooks, make it okay for the banks now to custody, cryptocurrency. Now maybe this dodo bird is going to open up his mind and get them diversified into some gold and some silver and some crypto, and not everything, but just enough for a hedge,
Yep.
because at some point the Fed's going to stop this crazy money printing, and we're going to have some kind of a collapse here. I mean, it can't last forever.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Because like we ended up just recently had Judy Sheldon there elected, and she's pushing for the whole gold standard. Now the thing is, like, I did a little bit of research into that, and the last time we ended up going back to the gold standard was what caused basically the Great Depression. Now, mind you, we do have a lot more tools at our disposal, especially like with XRPL and so forth, that we can mitigate the impact of that.
Right.
However, it's still just a matter of time until the everything bubble pops. Like we have a financial bubble, a housing market bubble. Like everything right now is in a bubble, and bubbles pop. There is no permanent bubble, and so to turn around and think that there is, you're just fooling yourself.
The thing that scares me is if you look at it, how many people are collecting unemployment, and how many people have been having their mortgages deferred, and they're not getting the mortgages, the payments forgiven, they're getting them deferred. So they're going to have to get caught up, right? But what happens when these people start defaulting? I mean, we're going to have a mortgage default rate and a bankruptcy rate of the small to medium-sized business in the country. I mean, it's just we got some real bad stuff getting ready to pop us, and the the beer cold is not over yet. So I mean, but having said all that, I'm still more positive and more excited because I believe that it's all going to end up working out, and we're going to continue to move forward and come out stronger after all of this shakeout of what all's going on. We're all going to end up better off than we are right now. I have faith in that. So,
definitely. I see that as well. Like, you know what? There's going to be some short-term turbulence. It's granted. There's ups and downs, especially in the crypto market. It's volatile. And when that breaches over into the regular markets, like it's just a matter of time. Like the housing market's going to collapse. It's the Big Short all over again. Except this time, it's not just the housing market. It's everything. And honestly, like I don't even know how to properly hedge my bets here. Like all I know is I'm gonna pick up a few digital assets. I'm not into it's not that I'm not into gold and silver and that. It's just I don't collect it or hold it myself. Like maybe down the road I might do so. Like, hey, if XRP or some of the other assets I look at end up mooning, I might just end up throwing it in gold as a safe haven.
Yep.
Everyone's like, oh, hold it in or cash out into dollars. And I'm like, you daft? Like, you cash out into dollars and all your value is going to be printed away.
Right.
At least until we get back to a standard of measure that everybody's accountable for.
Right. And again, I think we're heading there because, again, I think we're going to have to end up having a debt jubilee. And I personally think that the IMF is going to play a big role in bailing out most everybody and being the lender of last resort. That's the direction I think that we're going in.
We've been seeing word of that more and more as well, right?
Yep.
So, like, I'm a little hesitant to believe that they're just going to be like, no, debt's wiped. I could see them wiping corporate debt and leaving the everyday guys like us kind of holding the bag.
Yep.
But in the end, like, it'll all work out in the end, or at least I hope. But
I think it will, and I don't exactly know how it's all going to shake out. But I've always been a cup three-fourths full guy. I mean, I heard this joke one time. The airplane pilot said, "I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The good news is the bad news is we're lost, right? The good news is we're making excellent time." I think we're making excellent time. I'm enjoying the show.
Oh, definitely, as am I. And that's the thing. It has been a great show. Like it's had me on my seat for the last few years, and like I've tried to get some family members into the space as well, but I have a tendency of over explaining things and then kind of here and there touching on the conspiracy bits, and that tends to throw people off. So because like when I try to explain, like I tried to explain it to my dad there, and I'm like, look, you need to take a look at Ripple and XRP. They're working with regulators. They're tied in with the Bank of International Settlements, the World Bank, the IMF, tied in with, sorry here. 1 sec, I got to plug in here.
All right.
So they're tied in with like the IMF, the Bank of International Settlement, and whether the announcement has come or not, they're tied in with Bank of America, even Canada's central bank. And so in the long run, I think what we're gonna end up seeing is, like, as I said, everybody talks about XRP being backed by gold and so forth, and I really don't think that's going to be the case. What I think I was saying there is, like, I don't see XRP being backed by gold or any other asset by any means. As I said in the beginning there, to be the bridge asset, it needs to be an agnostic bridge asset that derives its own intrinsic value. So with that being said, what I see end up happening, this is just my opinion, is that we see talks more and more of the central bank digital currency. And that's where I see the backing being, whether it's backed by gold, as Judy Sheldon's been kind of pushing towards, or whether it's backed by the basket of the SDR. Either which way, we're going to see the central bank digital currencies that are backed. And then they basically, as we've discussed, they're going to end up creating a walled garden where, you have US who has their CBDC, you have China who has theirs, you have Japan who has theirs, Canada, UK, whatever, right? But they're not interoperable. And that's where XRP comes in, is you'll have that bridge from one currency to another, and not just from one currency to another, from one asset class or a commodity to an asset to a stock to a commodity, or whatever the case. If you want to bridge any type of one thing to another, XRP will be there.
And that's actually, I was actually having a conversation with another friend of mine in the space, Lee, now with Wealth Code, with SPQR before, and
Yep.
he said almost exactly the same thing. And the more that we all kind of have this collective consciousness of kind of we're all seeing the same thing, then it just seems like it's all falling into place. So I couldn't be more excited if I tried.
Oh, likewise. And that's exactly it. Like, I am so excited. Like, and like, I people at work actually turn around have called me the crypto evangelist, for lack of better wording. And so it's funny because, like, I don't look at it as like a negative. I do at the point where I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm talking about it a bit too much and I need to kind of pump the brakes a bit. But I see this opportunity and this huge wealth transfer coming, and I'm trying to let people know. And
me too.
They got the blinders on. And
I feel like it's getting a little bit better though. And again, one of the great things about it, Codeward, is that we've got excuse me, allergies. We've got better ammunition now. I mean, a month ago we didn't have Brian Brooks, with the OCC saying banks, you can now hold cryptocurrency. We didn't have that before. So
that's exactly it.
Things are coming along better, and we didn't have Chris Giancarlo out there doing announcements all the time that we could point people to. So it's to me, it just seems like things are just getting better and better and better.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. Now, quick side note about your allergies.
Yes.
Forgive me for sidetracking here.
Yes.
I actually, up until a couple months ago, I was on an average of about 5 to 6 Benadryl a day.
Okay.
I deal with bad allergies. I started taking Flonase, just a nasal spray. It's a corticosteroid. I haven't taken a Benadryl in almost 2 months. And even that stuff, I took it today for the first time in a week.
Huh.
So just if you want to take a look. Yep.
Got it. I'm going to go to the store and buy some today.
Yeah. It might not work for everybody, but for me, like, it's done wonders. Like, I'm allergic to like pollen, ragweed, fresh cut grass, dust, animals, like all year round. I'm buggered. So, and then for me to turn around, go from, as I said, 5, 6 Benadryl a day to nothing in the last like month and a half, almost 2 months.
I'm surprised that the Benadryl wasn't making you, kind of drowsy all the time too. That's one of the things I don't like about Benadryl. I guess maybe you get used to it.
Yes, that's exactly it. Because actually, at one point, I was taking the extra strength, and I was taking about 3 or 4 of those a day. So after a while, you kind of get used to the drowsy.
Right.
But I'm also thinking about the damage that it was doing to me in the long run as well.
Yeah.
So like,
it's not.
I got to look for something else.
Yeah, not a good idea to do that all the time. All right, well.
Okay, back on top.
Yeah, no problem. Well, I appreciate the Flonase tip. So to wrap up, again, a little bit before we said, do you have any kind of a final message that you'd like to say? And then we kind of just kept going, which is good. I like that. But
Fair
now
enough.
recap again. And I love that you're the crypto enthusiast. And I think you ought to even think about changing that name from Codeward to crypto enthusiast. I love that. I'm like that too. My dad is a retired minister, and I got a little preacher in me too. And so I'm talking about this stuff to other people all the time as well. But
Yep.
I just feel like it's getting a little bit easier because I'm a little bit more comfortable about everything, and I've also know that I've got more bullets, you know, in the chamber now than I had before.
Well, that's exactly it. The more we understand the space, the more we can properly articulate what's happening, what's taking place. And as you said, it's just ammo in the belt. So I think for me, it's getting kind of used to talking about things. But to answer your question there about what I would like to say to the community is, guys, hodl strong. Like, we're going to make it there. And as Brad Carlinghouse said, is like, you know, rising water lifts all boats. Now, whether or not those boats are seaworthy, we'll find out. But, you know, in the end, like, this is a whole new paradigm. Like, we've never seen anything like this within our lifetimes, our parents' lifetime, even. I would almost go as far to say, like, we had, like, our grandparent probably didn't even see something like this happen.
Yeah.
Not to this scale. This is, for lack of better wording, it's the fourth industrial revolution. We're changing in such a grand scale that we're
Yep.
going to look back at this time. And if you, like, you hodl strong, you know what you hold, you're going to be better off for it. Like myself, like, I don't like to talk about holdings and so forth, but like, I'm not going to lie, like, I threw some into escrow for my son. When he turns 18, he's going to have a little bag to play with. So, you know,
Hey, I tell you what, that's why I'm so excited because I believe what you just said, every bit of it. I mean, we're entering a new paradigm in the whole history of humanity into the digital revolution. And
yeah,
we're going into the internet of value, the internet of everything. We're going into, you know, AI coming along, and some of it's going to be bad and some of it's going to be more convenient,
of course.
but it's
Like,
all the biggest paradigm shift that I've ever seen in the entire time that I can remember being conscious.
yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. Like, we're even pushing in the energy sector away
Yep.
from like fossil fuels and more towards cleaner energy, more sustainable energy. It's becoming the primary focus. You even see it in the World Economic Forum where they're discussing that, you know, the fact that, was it a post I seen there the other day where Bitcoin mining is, on a daily, is consuming 1.5 times the electricity of Ireland's daily usage. That's, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not trying to bash Bitcoin. I
Me,
love the fact that they introduced the space. I
me
love the
too.
fact that they got the ball rolling. But superior technology will always
Went
rule.
out.
Exactly. And so, like, Bitcoin, it has its place. It's going to hold value. I see, like, it. It's not that I'm not long Bitcoin. I don't personally. I don't have a personal stake in it. Like, long term, yeah, it might even be, like, you know, a collector's item down the road. Like, 100 years, someone will be like, "Yo, I've got one of those, like, first gen Bitcoin. Sell it to you for $1 million." Or whatever the case, whatever the price is at that point. It's going to become a collector's item like Teeny Babies or Beanie Babies, whatever they're
Yep,
called.
yep. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
So, like, in the end, it'll still hold its own value, whether what it's used for, what a case. Like, you know, who knows? Maybe Bitcoin gets backed by gold. No, I joke. But
Could be. Who knows?
well, that's exactly it. But no, that was just a joke. But like, in the end, we're, I don't know how better to say that. we're in unprecedented times and a whole paradigm shift. And the fact that we're alive to witness this is mind blowing. And I really hope that one day, you know, my son doesn't have to grow up like I did. Like I spent my life in foster care. Like, so I had to kind of break a cycle and push towards wanting to do better for myself. And what I'm working on is a life for my son to not have to do that or worry about that. And, you know, down the road, hopefully be financially responsible, financially independent, and have something to draw off of for his future, not have to take loans to go to school, or, you know, if he wants to get married or move on with, like, you know, he has the means to do so. That's my aim. This isn't even about me. This is about my son.
Wow. That is awesome. And thank you for sharing that with me. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, trying to get the opportunity to get to meet everyone in the space, to give them the opportunity to be able to share with everyone else things like that. So thank you for that. Now, the last thing that I do with everybody is let them know that I'd like to go ahead and offer an invitation for you to come back at some point,
Okay.
because what I'm trying to do is develop friendships with people that when we do moon, can you imagine if we got 100 of us that are all connected together
Yeah.
and we're all well funded and we
Yeah.
find some projects that we'd like to go out and do some good for other people together, and
Well, that's exactly it.
how much more we could do together if we're connected and well funded.
Yep, and that's exactly it. The only thing I worry about there is the conspiracy theories that may come with such.
Yeah.
Like, I know we see it a lot right now with, you know, the whole elites and whatnot. So, like, I would love to make the world a better place. Like myself, like, I know it sounds weird, but like, you ever seen the movie Elysium?
I don't think so. I'll have to check that
Okay.
one
Yeah, it's a decent movie, but anyways, they have these basically healing machines that use sound and so forth, and like, you know, they can just repair broken bones in a matter of seconds, or like, you know, cure cancer or whatever the case. This is what I want to see in our future, is something that is going to benefit humankind and
out. Me too.
foster our progression and
Me too.
even push us towards colonizing the stars. Like,
Me too.
you know, I would love to see humans get to Mars, terraform it, and us be able to survive and, you know, take the strain off Earth. Because currently, the way that we're going, it's not sustainable, between
Right.
energy costs, between us clear cutting the forest, between everything. Like, we're sucking the planet dry. Now, that tends to lead into another theory, like, you know, that originally came from Mars because we did that to Mars and now we're doing it here. But
Right. I've heard that.
yeah.
I've heard that.
So, like, as I said, I do like to entertain a good conspiracy theory as long as it has a means to hold water. But
Right.
some of these boats are being built with screen doors, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I can't. You don't have Flex Seal, bud.
White or black Flex Seal.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, Codeward, I deeply appreciate it. And again, I'm looking forward to maybe, down the road, us getting back together again. And that way we can do a little contrast on that being July 26th, and then where, what's happened since.
Yeah.
And get kind of, I look forward to that in the future. And I now am honored to be able to consider you to be another one of the really cool people that I have made a connection with in our XRP Army, and I want to thank you for that.
Oh, fair enough. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I've actually never done this before, so this is completely new to me. I'm way outside my comfort zone. I might come across as a bit more confident than I actually am, but you know, it's also talking about something that I love and enjoy. Like, I've throughout my life, I've bounced from project to hobby to whatnot. Like, I can't even tell you. Like, I love drawing. I like reading and so forth, but I end up getting into one thing and then it kind of fizzles and I'm like on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And you know what? After getting involved in crypto, like I've stopped hopping. It's actually become something that I actually have a passion for. And that's the thing is I would love to develop on the ledgers, like maybe even not XRPL because there's already great teams doing great projects. And sorry, I'm starting to sound like Trump there, but but like I see, as I was mentioning before, the casino coin ledger, they're doing great things working with regulators in the gambling space, and you know that would be something that's great as well. But like VeChain, I see them doing wonderful things as well with the supply lines, and I have I have a couple concerns that I'm going to keep reserved for now in regards to that. But if you want, we can discuss that. But it's nothing major, just kind of the whole QR code system. But
Right.
you know, they're just we're moving towards a wonderful time, and
I think so too.
it's great.
And so, again, I've said the last thing a couple times, but to the people that feel a little bit timid that I've asked to come on, again, would you encourage them and would you like to hear from some of the other people that I've talked to that may be feeling a little bit nervous about doing this? It really isn't all that, it's not that bad, is it?
No, not at all. And that's the thing is like I was nervous. Like it actually like I deal with upset stomachs, and this sent my stomach kind of on a wild roller coaster. So um so with that being said, like no, definitely like even in the community, I consider myself more of a lurker. Like I don't really post too much. Yeah, I retweet, I might comment here and there. My comments even don't really get much love, which I'm fully okay with. But when it comes down to it, yeah, definitely put yourself out there. You know, definitely don't discuss your holdings. Keep that private because we definitely have bad actors, and you throw that stuff up there, and you're just making yourself a target.
Yep.
So you know what? If you're on the XRP rich list, don't tell me you're in the top 4% or even the top 6%. I don't want to know your holdings, and please don't tell other people your holdings because you're just making yourself a target.
Yep. I agree.
And
I think that's a wonderful, excuse me, a wonderful place for us to wrap up. And I'm going to do the best I can. I promise you to bring as many of the people in our XRP army to this platform so they can share their story, because I think that we need as many of these stories out there as possible to be able to connect with as many people out there in the world that don't know about digital assets yet. And so I deeply appreciate that you accepted my invitation. You stepped out of your comfort zone, and I thought it was fantastic. And I honor and respect what you're doing and what your intention is to provide such a wonderful experience for your son. He's lucky to have you.
well, thank you. And thank you for reaching out. It has definitely been fun. It's not quite what I expected. And, you know, it was a blast. And I would love to be back in the future.
I look forward to that. Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely be asking. All right, you take care. Time for me to get something to eat for lunch. And
Well,
everyone take care and have a wonderful day. All right. Thank you.
thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye.